Good morning to you, my friends, wherever you may be in the world today. Alan Clements here from Santa Monica, California, United States. June 2nd, 2021. Today is the second talk in this final series before my departure from the city. I'm going to dedicate it to the freedom-loving people of Myanmar, to Burma. Many of you know that it's my Dharma or spiritual homeland. It's also the birthplace of my activism, where I was able to see firsthand and integrate among leaders, teachers, mentors, friends, and strangers the beauty of an uncompromised commitment to taking a stand, an ethical stand, a spiritual stand for universal human rights, democracy, rule of law, justice, freedom, a shared freedom inseparable from their fellow citizens of Myanmar, their fellow inhabitants of that precious land, including all ethnicities, all religions, all language. A revolution, as it was called by the leaders in 1988, and the emergence of the National League for Democracy with Daw Aung San Suu Kyi and U Tin Oo and U Win Tin, a revolution of the spirit. This series of talks, especially today, is a plea, an invitation to rise up with the people of Burma, to rise up with me, to rise up with your own conscience, your own sense of worth and dignity, to become not a citizen of your native country alone, but to expand it, to become a citizen also of Myanmar, but a citizen of freedom, a citizen of planet Earth, a compassionate expression of dedicated conscience in action for the life of those yet born, and for the well-being of those being persecuted by the military terrorist organization known by the acronym in Burma. And I would like to have this meme spread worldwide, MAHSAC, M-A-H-S-A-C, Ming Online, the former general of Burma's Thamada, who is no longer a general. He is a cartoon character out of a Satan cartoon, a terrorist man, similar, identical to Pol Pot, Al-Qaeda, Boko Haram, the Taliban of Burma. MAHSAC, State Administration Council. Welcome to today. Join the revolution. Take a stand for freedom. May I encourage you, if you're listening, not just people from Myanmar or Burma. Inside the country, I'm told the internet is back on, but people worldwide, anywhere you are, whoever you are, may I encourage you, become a force multiplier. We can support the democracy movement, the struggle for freedom in Burma, by caring enough simply to spread the digital word of this video worldwide in every way that you can within your means, within your time frame, to Burma groups, to the United Nations, to elected leaders worldwide, to your governor, to your mayor, to your congresswoman, to your prime minister, to journalists, to radio shows. Simply state, please share. Our freedom is inseparable. May I encourage you, especially for the people of Burma. It is not enough simply to listen. We must participate, one person at a time, one share at a time, one comment at a time, in the revolution for freedom in Burma. The freedom in Burma is not separate from the freedom of our lives in America, in Canada, in Australia, in the EU, in South America. We are an interrelated global family. And if we do not care for democracy today, we will be shrouded by totalitarianism tomorrow. The war in Burma between non-violent activists and the military gone rogue into a terrorist organization is not about a country 10,000 miles from the west coast of America. It's about Xi Jinping in China, the nuclear-powered, genocidal, sociopathic dictator in Burma, very different than the citizens of China, under a firewall. Imagine living under a firewall where freedom of speech, freedom of press is absolutely repressed, and you are imprisoned if you do anything to violate the social code of the dictatorial commandments. Do as I say, or you will suffer in a labor camp. Xi Jinping, Putin, dictators worldwide, let it be known, we have our eye on you. We will fight back. We are fighting back the war in Burma between nonviolent activists and the denigrating totalitarian terrorist group known as Mossack, run by a man that we should know worldwide, not only in the criminal court in The Hague where he is wanted for crimes against humanity. The Bin Laden, the Pol Pot of Burma, Ming Online. He wears a uniform. He calls himself a senior general. He is a terrorist leader. End of story. I have solutions for that man. Now, share, 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 especially if you have a stake in the game in Burma, that you are an ethnicity in Burma, you're in the country in Burma, or that you're a Burman or someone, a Karen, a Shan, a Mon, a Catholic, a Muslim, anywhere in the world. May I invite you, let us unite. Let us put aside our differences. May I invite you, many of you on the ground in Burma are traumatized, terrified. What to do at this point? Either do or die under totalitarianism. I want to touch your heart with support. We are there with you. We're standing in digital solidarity with you. We are not going to turn away. I want you, people of the world who are listening, whoever you are on my stream today, listening to this video, watching this video, may I invite you to let it enter your own heart like a yogic asana of liberating courage, a meditative practice of metta in dynamic, compassionate, radical action, the reinvention of wisdom in radiant expression, democracy in action. All of us around the world, here we are in the first few minutes of this sharing that I will continue, God willing, until I leave this city June 24th. We are going to give it everything we have here to raise the awareness worldwide. We're not going to wait for celebrities and influencers. We're not going to wait for the United Nations Security Council. We're not going to wait for prime ministers. We're not going to wait for presidents. If you want to come along and join the revolution, that is your choice. But we are the people. I want to encourage you. We are the people. And we must take responsibility deep into our hearts, stating the obvious. May I encourage you, tune out or tune in, but this is an activist-oriented series. Please share this video. Share it within the Burma groups. Share it within all forms of Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Signal, Telegraph, wherever you can share it in the media, digitally, online, whatever you can do to translate it into Burman, Burmese, into Karen, to Shan, whatever it is, the ethnic languages that you have access to. Let the word spread far and wide. We are the revolution in action. Supporting the men and the women, the nuns and monks, the priests, everyone in Burma right now risking their lives, risking their sanity, risking their incomes, risking everything to stand in solidarity with the truth of Daw Aung San Suu Kyi and the elected civilian government of Burma. We are the people. The National League for Democracy is we are the people. Right now, it's an opportunity for all ethnicities in Myanmar to hold in solidarity, arm to arm, put aside our differences. I know it's not easy. Let us rise in democratic unity. And I want to speak over the course of these coming days about the power of nonviolence. I want to explore that with you. I'm not going to put down those who take up the good fight, but I want to really deeply explore and empower and elevate as if Daw Aung San Suu Kyi was talking to us. The elected civilian leaders of the country were talking to us. They have won. They stand in ahimsa, in sila, in dana, in bhavana, in multi-faith respect. They are committed to dynamic, that's the word I want to use, dynamic non-violence in action. We must employ every means necessary, psychologically, emotionally, and mindfully and intelligently. We must employ every psychological device that we have and to find creative means to confront Ma Sak, to confront the evil of his behavior, the Deva Datta in a uniform in Naypyidaw, the capital of Burma. Ma Sak is the latest incarnation of evil on the planet. I am not pointing a finger at your execution. You have karmically created your own karma. I am going to seek creative ways for you, sir, and those boys and girls and those men in business suits around you in the country, around the world that support you through guns, munitions, support, collusion, complicity, weapons, money, oil, gas, rubies, whatever it is that you do to sustain your evil soul. I want to speak to those men and women as well and to let them know that they are now informed. Your time is ending. If anything need be said at this very point, if there's a senior general in the Thamada who has one iota, study the word Hirianotapa, a deep reflection, what I'm thinking, what I'm doing to stand in collusion with Ming Online is wrong. It is ditti. It is akusala. It is a kilesa. It will result in a lawful causal relationship in an apayaloka. You will be reborn as a peta in a hell world. In all Buddhist traditions, all religions in the world understand causality. I am not pointing a finger to terrify you, but if you have an iota of Hirianotapa, go to the monastery, talk to a nun, talk to Siddhi Sayadaw, ask what is the meaning of these two Pali words, Hiri and Otapa. Our best shot at turning the tide in Burma is to employ every form of Dhamma intensity, conviction in the power of Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, and the revolution of the spirit trans-Buddhist, all religions combined. What is the ethical imperative to turn back the evil of Ma Sak in Burma? We will win this revolution if enough people stand in fidelity to the power of freedom, the power of democracy, and the power of compassion and loving kindness in dynamic action. This revolution is just revving up. Okay. Thank you for letting me give a little bit of a rant here, but the fire is on. The war is on. The fight is on, and enough of us get into the fire of the fight, non-violently. I'm not saying passivity here, but let us employ creatively and collectively a resonant tsunami of transformational awakening that blows away the evil intent of Ma Sak and the men and women who, I want to use this word carefully, who are in collusion, a net of complicity, just like those men and women, business leaders in Germany that were in collusion with Adolf Hitler. Hitler did not stand alone. Ming Online and Ma Sak does not stand alone. Identify, reveal, and creatively mock and shame and divest every bit of psychological, emotional, and financial investment in that top 1,000 men and women that form the constellation of Ma Sak in Burma. We must do as we did back in 88 to 2012, expose the evil, just like it was done in South Africa under apartheid with Nelson Mandela. a worldwide revolution, protest, boycott, divestment campaign. This revolution will be won if enough of us in the world speak up, not just speak up, but act. Find out where the money is going. Who are the ones in complicity to prop up and to support Ming Online's Mossack terrorist group? Divest. Singapore banks, divest. Let's identify the corporate leaders of every corporation in Burma or around the world. It's not enough that Chevron and Total took away the cash to Mossack. 10% of the money they give to the terrorist organization. That's a crime against humanity. Total and Chevron shareholders and CEOs should be in The Hague along with Mossack. You are giving them the money, and Putin and Xi Jinping, you're giving them the guns to kill and to persecute the people of Burma. You're killing democracy in Burma. What are you doing to America? What are you doing to Canada? What are you doing to the EU? The long arm of the Belt and Road Initiative out of China across Burma, there is no Tibet to save. There is no Hong Kong to save. There'll be no Canada to save. There'll be no Australia to save. Is this an alarmist view? No. Ask the boys and girls in Hong Kong suffering rape, torture, humiliation, belittlement in the gulags of mainland China for their right to have stood up for democracy and freedom in Hong Kong. Where are they today? Where is Daw Aung San Suu Kyi today? Where is the President U Win Myint today? Where are the 5,200 other thought leaders, journalists, teachers, civil servants, doctors, nurses, nuns, and monks? Where are they today? They're in the prisons of Burma under the diabolical, rapist, torturous behavior of Ming Online. That is a crime against humanity. Good people around the world who espouse religious beliefs, meditative beliefs, yogic beliefs, Hindu beliefs, Tibetan beliefs, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, Reverend Desmond Tutu, all Nobel laureates, all theologians, all priests, all teachers, all meditation coaches, all meditation teachers, all saints, all sinners who care about democracy. Pause. Focus on Burma. The window of opportunity is narrowing, and as the darkness seems to encroach upon the people, let the light engulf them. We are many, they are few. 1,000 men and women in the capital of Naypyidaw. It's now a fortress, a prison camp. You can be sure that Ming Online, in his stealth of denial, at the nighttime quiet dreamscape with himself or his family, he is quivering with fear. A very clear point of action. I'd like to talk to the 50 senior commanders of the terrorist organization in Burma. May this video, may these words be translated. May they infiltrate the firewall around Naypyidaw. Let them go into the inbox, into the Facebook accounts, wherever it can be found. Identify those 50 senior generals in Burma. Hey, generals. Hey, wives of those generals. Or if the generals are women, hey, husbands of those generals, of the women in uniform. And you, children of those 50 generals, let's say about 200 people. You have no future under Mossack. You may think that you're safe right now and that all things are going to go quiet, but you have not seen modern day Gen Z, Gen X. You have never seen a digitally connected world. We will not rest. We will not rest until all of you are in the criminal court in The Hague, just as the leaders of the Yugoslavian genocides, Slobodan Milosevic, Malevich, all of them, where did they end up? Ming Online and these 50 generals and the 200 family members and cronies that run the innermost sanctum of the Mossack evil terrorist group, we know your names, we know your emails, we know your websites, we know your complicities, we know your pseudonyms. We have our eyes on you. And guess what? Ming Online is just one. The whole world wants him gone. Okay? There's been sanctions on about 20 other senior commanders. Guess what? You can save your soul. You can save yourself from a hell world if you're a Buddhist. How? Whenever you're in the company of Ming Online again, you can be sure he looks into your eye very much like Tan Shui and Ne Win did. And Ne Win couldn't even trust his analogous son, Tan Shui, who he appointed as the evil dictator of Burma. Where did Ne Win end up? House arrest. Where did his kids end up? In prison. Insane prison. Guess what? If you don't put Ming Online in prison, I'm not saying put him in insane prison alone. I say go to his house, surround his villa with soldiers aligned and respectful of you, commanders and senior generals, and put him under house arrest. Just like he has done with the president, just like he has done with our beloved Aung San Suu Kyi. We don't even know where she is. Who could imagine allowing that to be true? One guy in a uniform with guns. We're going to let that man, Ming Online, run the show? I say, senior generals, if you want your kids to be able to go to China, to Russia, perhaps even to the Ivy League schools, or maybe even, if you're lucky, to Oxford, if you want your children to continue to feel that they have a life and a future, what I would suggest is that there is a true military coup in Burma, a military coup of a terrorist organization. Restore. This is the easiest thing. Guerrilla war, I don't have anything to do with it in Burma. Bombing and roadside explosives, it's just not my thing. But creative, radical, unthinkably dynamic, courageous actions, using our intelligence, calling all people, the savants, the activists, all of the people out there employing mindful intelligence, spiritual intelligence, Dharma intelligence. Let's think of creative ways. One, a military coup of the terrorist organization in Naypyidaw. Very easy. Surround Ming Online's villa and put him under house arrest. And if he catharts and struggles and is terrified, so what? You have saved your beloved country. Yes, you've got blood on your hands. I know. But you have then redeemed yourself to be seen as turning back your own kilesas, your own evil, and you're no longer complicit. You don't have to be enlightened. You don't have to have the experience of Nibbana. You don't have to go ordain as a monk or a nun. All you need to do is arrest Ming Online and feed him caviar and wine and lepet and tea. Give him curry if he wants. Give him a meditation cushion. Let Siddhagu Seda there go and teach him meditation. Whatever is needed, let him play golf inside of his villa. I'm sure it's large enough. If he wants to drive his mechanical car in his bedroom, let him do that. Let he and his wife finally say, hey, honey, I love you. Do whatever's required. Take his TV, take his iPhone, take his walkie-talkie, and just leave him there to age in grace, to let him stew in his own unconscience. Non-violence in action, a very easy activity. Every ambassador in Myanmar right now, every political attaché in Burma right now, every administrative assistant every Secretary of State in the world, may I encourage you, support this vision. I don't know the names of the senior generals in Burma. I don't know the names of the commanders. I don't particularly know the names of even the lieutenants or the generals, but you know who they are. Let this video go to them. Let that go to their inboxes. Let it go to their Instagram, their Signal, their Telegraph accounts. WhatsApp them, whatever's needed to get this into their box in Burmese, into their native language. Aha. Let's instill a little bit of hiri and otapa, a little bit of conscious doubt in these other men. In complicity and collusion is not something set in stone. It's not something set in stone. Even Adolf Hitler, he lost the war. He killed himself. Ming Online, if he wants to kill himself or go out in a bang with he and his wife and his kids, that's his choice. We don't want him dead. We want him arrested. And so I want to end this particular point one on a creative action that would completely obliterate the need for the ethnic minorities and the armed resistance to unify and to fight a guerrilla war and to create a Yemen or a Syria in Burma. We don't want that. We don't want the men and women in Burma right now in the cities of Mandalay and Malmeen and in Rangoon to feel terrified. They're already bleeding in the trauma, in the loss of so much love and so much freedom and so much sanity. Senior generals in Burma, the final time. You have everything to gain and nothing to lose. Everything to gain on the world stage of redemption. The sanctions will be eased. The Americans, the Canadians, the Australians, the New Zealand, the EU, the United Nations will stand and applaud. You'll get headlines around the world. All it takes is one. All it takes is one. All it takes is one. Remember this. General Ne Win, on a day way back, was playing golf in Rangoon with his beloved Senior General U Tin U. We all know U Tin U. He became the Nayaka of the National League for Democracy. He's now 93 years old. He lives in Rangoon. He had suffered a stroke. I recently saw him. He is a beloved friend, a beloved mentor, a radical man who overcame his allegiance to totalitarianism, went to prison, and restored his karma, his conscience, by standing in solidarity, as you know. But those of you who don't know, in solidarity with Daw Aung San Suu Kyi, U Chi Mung, the former colonel in the army, who defected and left and started the National League for Democracy, along with U Win Tin. And U Win Tin, a former also high-ranking commander in the Thamada, left, saw the violence of that totalitarian institution, left, senior to Ming Online, by the way. And Ne Win arrested Senior General U Tin U. He would have arrested the equivalent of Senior General Ming Online. It's doable. It's historic. It's shown to work. Why was he afraid of U Tin U? U Tin U's told me many times. Because he could feel in me a change of heart. Alan, he told me when we were monks together after he was released, after Ne Win put him in solitary for 6 years in insane prison. 6 years from a senior general. Ming Online is a senior general. I'm not advocating he go to prison. I'm saying house arrest. Very different than solitary confinement. Very different than the 5,200 men and women in the prisons in Burma right now, not to mention the thousands that have been tortured to death, assassinated and persecuted and hunted right now. He put U Tin U in solitary. Alan, he could sense, I sensed, my language, paraphrasing my friend U Tin U. I was beginning to feel As we know, these Pali words, they became resonant transformational energies. Hiri and Ottappa. Conscience and conscientious fear of having done wrong, being judged by dignified, respectful figures in the Sangha and in lay society. I felt a moment of conscious remorse. Go there. Go there. All those other 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 generals, lieutenants, commanders in the Thamada. It's a dignified institution that was started, as you know, by Daw Aung San Suu Kyi's dignified father, General Aung San. It has gone into a terrorist organization under Ne Win, Saw Mung, Tan Shui, and Ming Online. I say what Ne Win did to U Tinu, please, please, please save all ethnicities in Burma from having to unify and fight. Free the prisons of political prisoners. It's in your conscience, generals, lieutenants, commanders, to create a military coup where the outcome is that modern day Ne Win, Ming Online, the terrorist dictator totalitarian dictator terrorist. Hear that? Wow. Look what he's done since February 1st. Look what he's done over the decades before. Murdering people, killing people, raping perhaps even your own daughter, killing your mother, putting teachers and nurses and doctors in prisons because they love to teach, they love freedom, they love to teach children the beauty of the dream of freedom. We can't emphasize it enough. U Tinu told me, Alan, I had a change of heart. That's what I'm asking right now of all the people in Burma. Let's create a psychological information, meme-driven, war, anti-war, anti-terrorist, psychologically Dharma terrorist action that awakens the latent Hiri in Ottappa. Study those two words. My teachers, Sayadaw U Pandita, would tell me. They are the guardians of freedom in samsara. They are the guardians of sanity within Namarupa. They are the guardians of democracy within civilization and culture. When one is endowed with an ample devotion to Hiri and Ottappa, they live in fidelity to Dana. They love and delight in giving, Alan. They love and delight in restraining from the expression of kilesa through thought, speech, and action. They delight in compassion, in metta. They delight in the development of the more nuanced elements of satipatthana, all from the seeds of Hiri and Ottappa being nurtured in one's own conscience. That's all we're asking for here. A revolution of the spirit is born from the watering and the nurturing and the activism of our own Hiri and Ottappa in doing what we can to activate, nurture, water, illuminate, show the radiance of those qualities in those generals, those lieutenants, those commanders in Naypyidaw and around the country, all in uniform, their wives, their uncles, their mothers, their grandparents, their children, their cronies. They can change. Isolate, activate, elevate, and make good on your own Hiri and Ottappa. We cannot say it enough. U Tinu, I had a change of heart. Ne Win could sense it. He got frightened that he could lose his grip on the country, on the people, on the army, because the soldiers in the army were most loyal to me, he said, not to him. He lived on that villa on the lake. I was a frontline commander, a general. He'd hold up his longi, his monk's robe, and show me the 9 bullet holes in his body. Ne Win had none. Ming Online has none. He's a proxy. He's a front man for profit and privilege and money and totalitarianism. He's a puppet of Xi Jinping. He's a puppet of Putin. We know that. He sold out the people and the country for some pathetic jot dollar. It's pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. Let him sit in meditation with Sidigu Sayadaw or any of the other Nayaka Sayadaws in the country. Let them come to Naypyidaw and transform his house arrest villa into the first dedicated yekta for a terrorist leader to redeem himself through intensive Vipassana meditation under lock and key. An easy solution if only we as the collective get this video translated. Please, force multiplier. Send it to every person that you know in Myanmar. Every inbox. Get it into Naypyidaw. Get it into the United Nations. Get it into elected presidents and prime ministers around the world. Get it into the media. We have a solution to the terrorist denigration of Burma by using the radiance of something innate in the mind already of these other soldiers, other commanders in Burma. Activate their Hiri and Otapa. The final point, a military coup of conscience that puts Ming Online under house arrest in Naypyidaw, and the siege of evil is over. Just like that. Next step, national TV. The coup is over. Ming Online is under house arrest. Either we'll comply with international law and have a flight where he goes to The Hague to stand trial for crimes against humanity, ethnic cleansing, and genocide. What a redemption it would be in the world today to see justice at that level of global rule of law. What I'm saying is absolutely spot on. If I had the mind and the ear, and I pray I do, with President Biden, any prime ministers around the world, the Secretary General of the United Nations, may you hear me. Put a military coup in place, activate the conscience of those other commanders around Ming Online, put him under house arrest, and if needed, send him to The Hague, and have a moment of global redemption where ethics wins over totalitarianism. And we send a message to Xi Jinping and to Putin, to all those around the world. Our eyes of conscience are upon you. This is what will happen to you, just like what happened to Slobodan Milosevic in Bosnia at the end of the genocides. We must incarcerate Ming Online immediately. And the ones who can do that or 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 100, 1,000 or 2,000 people who are the most intimate people with that man right now in Naypyidaw and in Burma. Let your imagination run wild when you hear this, guys and girls. How can it be done? Do it with stealth, care, and intelligence. Find the right opportunity and have a military coup, just like Ne Win prevented his fear of my friend U Tinu having a military coup and putting Ne Win under prison. Rather, he put my friend U Tinu into prison. And what happened? He became a Gandhian-like figure in Burma. He told me what it was like to be in the car with Daw Suu in Depian in the massacre. He told me what it was like to be at the front lines in World War II. He told me what it was like to co-associate with Ne Win. He told me about the transition from believing in violence to the power of ahimsa, the power of dana, the power of sila, the power of Dhamma. It's possible that Ming Online will have his own transformational awakening. Devadatta, it's said by the Buddha, predicted that even Devadatta, who was committed to the evil denigration, wanting to kill the Buddha, will become a Buddha himself in a future lifetime. Is it possible that Ming Online will become a Pacceka Buddha? Yes. We believe in redemption. We believe in karma. We believe in the power of the Dhamma. Military commanders, give Ming Online a chance to restrain through your actions his own blind allegiance to kilesas. Cut his kilesa flow off. It's a compassionate act to put him under house arrest. It's not an abjugation of your duties as a military commander.